So season 4 of The Umbrella Academy just dropped on Netflix, and after I finished it, I stood there in disbelief. Disbelief that I would never get that weekend back. Disbelief that the show I had been enjoying since 2019 was a complete waste of time. Disbelief that there was an ending so bad it made Game of Thrones Season 8 look like Breaking Bad. Season 4 is a special kind of awful. Every creative decision is worse than the last. Plot lines are introduced and forgotten almost immediately. Important characters from previous seasons are completely dropped for no reason. Character arcs are left unresolved, and an ending that is so bafflingly stupid and mean-spirited, it makes you wonder why you even bothered watching the show in the first place. Like, I don't even know where to start with this. I guess let's begin with a super brief recap before we get into the nitty-gritty. Major spoilers ahead for The Umbrella Academy Season 4. Season 4? More like Season 4 more years of bullshit. At the end of Season 3, it's revealed that Reginald was actually an alien the entire time. And he reset the entire universe to bring back his dead wife. The Umbrella Kids are brought into the new universe without their superpowers, and they each went their separate ways for 6 years, settling into normal lives. Eventually, they all get together for a birthday party and are tricked by Ben into taking shots of something called Marigold, the midichlorian MacGuffins that gave the kids the powers in the first place. I hate you so much, Ben, why are you such an asshole? Then, the bad guy from Alvin and the Chipmunks asks them to rescue his daughter, and the Umbrella Kids, with nothing else better to do, I guess, agrees to help him. Meanwhile, there's yet another apocalypse coming called the Cleanse. This time spearheaded by an umbrella cult led by Jean and Jean, two eccentric and kind of boring villains. The kids dick around and bicker until they meet Jennifer, the daughter they were supposed to rescue. Jennifer turns out to be a super plot MacGuffin, and she and Ben are the catalyst for kickstarting the Cleanse. After Ben and Jennifer fall in love, because of course they fall in love, they are the only two Asian people on this show, they merge together and Akira into a hideous monster that looks like a reject from Stranger Things. It's finally revealed that the reason every season ends with an apocalypse is because of the Marigold MacGuffin inside them. The Umbrella Kids realize that the only way to stop this apocalypse and every future apocalypse is to let the Cleanse absorb them. They all allow themselves to get eaten, the universe gets reset one last time, but the Umbrella Kids have been wiped out from existence. And that's it. That's how Season 4 ends. Everybody dies. I could not believe what I had just seen. Not only was Season 4 a short season, but it was clear they were struggling to fill the season with meaningful content. Characters spend so much time just meandering and going on completely unrelated side quests until it's time for the finale. I remember thinking on episode 5 of a 6-episode season, man, there is no way they are going to be able to wrap up every loose end and complete character arcs in one more episode. And it turns out, I was right. They didn't wrap them up. They just dropped every plotline and the show ends. It feels like the creators just wanted to wash their hands of this show, so they wrote up an ending for it, but they didn't have anything to fill an entire season with, so they just improv'd some bullshit as a first draft and sent that into final production. It's actually kind of impressive they managed to completely botch every single character in a single season. So I'd like to go through each character one by one and tell you where it all went wrong. Luther. I love Luther. He's my favorite character in the show. He goes from being a serious leader in Season 1 to a complete dumbass lovable himbo in Season 2 and beyond. But the poor dude just can't catch a break. Season 4 has him living in a condemned building, working as an unsuccessful stripper, because I guess being the leader of a superhero team has no transferable skills. And for some reason, they didn't bring back Sloane, his wife from the last season and his only real source of happiness. And after getting his powers back, for some reason he also gets his gorilla body back too. It was my understanding that the gorilla body was not his original power, just super strength and durability. So what, the gorilla body is baked into the Marigold now? I don't know, and I'm guessing the writers didn't know either. Also, Luther just has nothing to do. He just makes himbo jokes all season and helps Diego fight the CIA to Secret Agent Man.
Secret Agent Man, Secret Agent Man.
Diego. They really didn't know what to do with Diego. He begins the season as a schlubby UPS delivery man, wishing for more excitement in his life like a Disney princess. He has a plot line about wanting to join the CIA because he thinks it's his chance to get more excitement in his life. I don't know, they really dumbed him down for this season too. I don't remember Diego being almost as dumb as Luther, but there they are, not a brain cell between them. Outside of the CIA shit, he also has relationship drama with Lila. She cheats on him with Five, we'll get to that plot point in a minute, and Diego confronts Five with the old,
"You fuck my wife, you fuck my wife, you fuck my wife, you fuck my wife, I am your wife."
Diego then spends like half of the final episode trying to fist fight 5. Meanwhile, there's a giant Akira kaiju about to end the world. Like, Diego isn't dumb enough to put this petty shit over an apocalypse, but not season 4 Diego. And the worst part is, the drama doesn't even get resolved because there's no time left and the show just ends. They die mad at each other. It goes against the whole point of the show that no matter how much they bicker, they always come together as a family in the end. It sucks. Lila. Speaking of Lila, this weird love triangle plot line between her, 5, and Diego is the single dumbest plot decision of the entire show, and it gets so much screen time. 5 and Lila wind up getting lost in this weird time-traveling train station that has never ever been a thing before in the show, especially since 5 traveled through time many times before. Just season 4 things, I guess. They get lost for 7 whole years, and in that time they fall in love with each other and decide to settle down and live together since there's seemingly no way home. 5 immediately finds a way home. And they go back to their families, leading to the whole drama between 5 and Diego. It's just so out of character for both 5 and Lila. Like, I get that they were lost in time for 7 years and only had each other for company, so it makes sense why it happened in the show. But to put them in that situation in the first place for some cheap relationship drama really just hurts Lila and 5's development. 5 was one of my favorite characters. He was always an asshole, but he was competent and snarky and fun to watch. Season 4 removes all of that likability and makes him this lovesick, sensitive puppy dog. They also dumbed him down quite a bit. I feel like season 1 5 would have been sharp enough to notice that his CIA boss was part of the Umbrella cult, whereas season 4 5 had absolutely zero clue about it until it was too late. They changed how his teleportation powers work, all so they can do the stupid Lost in Time plot, and also give him the inspiration to kickstart the finale, telling everyone they need to be absorbed by the cleanse. They butchered his character and his powers for the sake of making that stupid finale work even a little bit. Klaus. Yet another character they had no idea what to do with. Now, you know what? Scratch that. They did know what to do with him. They ruined all of his character development is what they did. He begins the season as a germaphobe and also terrified of doing anything dangerous, presumably because he lost his powers and is no longer immortal. It's quite literally that episode of SpongeBob where he wants to stay indoors forever after breaking his butt. It's a neat concept, but it quickly gets thrown away since his immortality powers come back after episode 1. And then he spends the rest of the time being really pissy at his family. And for some reason, after he gets his powers back, he goes back to drinking and substance abuse. All the development he had previously mastering his ghost power, therefore no longer needing to substance abuse to get away from them, is thrown out the window. Just season 4 things. He has a whole boring-ass subplot about being kidnapped and forced to work for some drug dealer dude he owes a lot of money to. A plot point that wouldn't need to happen in the first place if he didn't fall off the wagon. It's just so pointless. Fast forward and Klaus eventually gets buried alive and he has to Kill Bill his way out of a coffin. I'm not joking, he literally references Kill Bill.
Uma Thurman.
After that, Klaus stops being a character for the rest of the show. The whole thing just feels like bad filler. Allison. I hate Allison. Season 3 completely butchered her character and made her an extremely unlikable bitch. And season 4 does absolutely nothing to improve her character in any meaningful way. She starts season 4 as an unsuccessful actress and also taking care of Klaus and allowing him to live in her home babysitting her kids. Her only major plot point is rescuing Klaus from his stupid subplot, and that's it. No big apologies for her actions in the last season, especially after what she did to Luther. Her husband Ray was silently written off the show. So like, what was the point of betraying the family last season to bring him and the daughter back? It's a complete waste of time. Viktor. Say it with me now. They had no idea what to do with this character. So this season begins with Viktor owning his own bar and I guess being a womanizer? This lady makes a scene and stomps out of the bar while some dude is like,
well, that does it. Vic's officially blown through every woman in town.
And like, you really expect me to believe this short, socially awkward ball of anxiety is a heartbreaker? Viktor doesn't seem like the type to do that at all. Vanya was a super sweet, sensitive, musical type person, not whatever this is. It's like the writer said, hey, did we mention Viktor as a man? Look at him doing manly things like banging every woman in town. Such a man. It just feels like overcompensating trans representation. It's a really, really bad look. Anyway, after he gets his powers back, they have him together with Reginald looking for Ben. Along the way, they try to do a thing where Viktor and Reginald connect and maybe Reginald becomes less of a dick, but it doesn't work. Mostly because the Reginald that made Viktor's life a living hell is not the same Reginald currently. That was in the previous timeline. Any development he has with this version of Reginald doesn't actually mean anything. Ben. Ben is my least favorite child after Allison. This is technically still the Sparrow version of Ben from season 3, who is a raging asshole. Seriously, he spends like 90% of the season being emo and shitty towards Luther and the rest of the family, and he doesn't get any better at any point. First, he gives the family all their powers back when they explicitly said they did not want them back. Then he spends the rest of the season pining after Jennifer, a girl who is less an actual character and more like a human-shaped plot device. The longer he stays around her, the sicker she and he become, but because he's also the most stubborn prick alive, he quadruples down on staying with her. And every time Viktor reaches out to him to tell him to get away from Jennifer, he's like, "But I don't wanna!" And then he merges with her and turns into Akira and kills everyone. Ben. Reginald. Talk about a complete waste of time. For the entirety of Umbrella Academy, Reginald has been the driving force behind everything. He is the reason the kids are so messed up and saddled with all these issues. And the more we learn about him, the more he turns into a villain. He is an asshole through and through. And at the end of season 3, we learn he has actually been an alien this entire time. Like, what a bombshell, right? And it shows him looking down sinisterly at the newly reset timeline, cementing himself as the final villain. What does it all mean? What is it all leading up to?
Well, I'll tell you. Absolutely fucking nothing.
Everything Reginald does this season means nothing because this Reginald isn't the same one from the last season. So whenever Viktor or the rest of the family scolds him or reprimands him for something, he reminds them again and again that he had nothing to do with it, because he literally didn't.
Whatever anger you may feel towards me is misdirected. May I remind you that it was the other Sir Reginald Hargreaves who committed this horrible act.
The huge reveal of him being an alien? It means nothing. He doesn't even show his alien form again in season 4. Why even bother putting it in the first place? I think the show tries to have Reginald grow some semblance of a conscience with Viktor, but then he's killed by the cleanse before anything really happens. He starts the show a mysterious asshole, and he ends the show a mysterious asshole. I'm not really sure if they ever truly explain his true motivations or origins at any point. Just season 4 things! And yeah, there you go. Every major character has either been completely butchered or thrown to the side because the writers couldn't think of anything for them to do before the finale. It's almost impressive how bad it is. I have a few more complaints I'd like to address before the end of the video. Another weird thing season 4 tries to do is introduce new or remixed powers for the kids. Five's teleport now brings him to that time-traveling train station, which again has never been established before whenever he time-traveled. Lila has new laser eye beam she uses twice, once when she discovered that she had them, and once at the very end when they're fighting Akira Ben. She literally never uses them again. Allison's rumor power morphed into like telekinesis or something. Like, I don't even know if she still has the rumor power because she doesn't use it at all the entire season. But the worst one has to be Klaus, who not only never shows us his true potential of his ghost powers, but in the final episode he discovers he can fly, and what does he do with it? He floats up with Luther one time and never uses it again.
I can fly now.
They fly now!
They fly now?
They fly now!
It is so baffling why they bother to add these new powers when the characters act like they are lobotomized half the time. It really is a shame what happened to this show. It used to have exciting action, tight writing, great characters, and an incredible soundtrack with tons of fun dance numbers. But season 4 just takes all of that and throws it right in the trash. Everything from top to bottom was a complete disaster, and it ranks as one of the worst endings to a show I have ever seen. Plotlines are introduced and thrown away because there's simply no time left. Luther not having a family of his own, Diego, Lila, Five love triangle isn't resolved, Klaus and Allison having that huge fight and not making up, Viktor getting praise from a Reginald that isn't his real Reginald, Reginald himself never learning his lesson and dying before any real change happens, Jennifer being found in a giant squid is literally never brought up. Why was she so afraid of it? Why was she in there? No one wins, no one is happy, and then they all die to save the universe. It's supposed to be a bittersweet ending?
More like dead skunk and dog shit.
Have a rotten day!